Hey, what's up, world? I hope you're hungry. So today we're gonna do things a little bit differently. I'm gonna go on a food crawl, nothing too crazy, just in the local neighborhood, and I'm gonna take you guys along with me. Simple as that. It's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's just go and see what happens. What I love about this town is that no matter where you go, there is so much to eat from a variety of different cultures, and it's part of what makes it so magical, the scale of it. I could live 100 lifetimes and still only ever taste 1% of it. So I get off the D train at the 18th Avenue stop over in Bensonhurst, and when I walk down the stairs, I see this tamale vendor. You know you're cut from the same cloth as me when you get that little tingle inside whenever you see a vendor that you've never had before. Here I decided to get two things. The Oaxacan-style tamale with salsa roja and the Champurrado. This tamale was extraordinary. It's Oaxacan style, so unlike the tamales you might be used to, which use a corn husk to wrap the filling, this one uses a banana leaf, which imparts a very distinct flavor, magnificent flavor. It was very, very delicious and washed down perfectly by the Champurrado, which is like a chocolate-infused atole. Atole is a corn-based drink, and this combination of tamales and atole, very common around the holidays. But this was a great way to start off the food crawl. I mean, this is what it's all about, right? Grabbing some food from a vendor, standing under the streetlights, watching the people as they go about their busy lives. I mean, I live for moments like these. It's a great way to kick things off. Can I have an order of the Khinkali, please? Up next, we had Cafe G, a wonderful Georgian spot. Now, I've been to this place before. What's cool about this place is the decor. On the wall, you'll see posters and quotes from Georgian movies. I love places like this that give you little glimpses into the culture that this cuisine calls home. The last time I was here, I got the hachapuri, which is a dish I've talked about before in an episode I did about Brighton Beach, which I'll link in the description. But this time, I decided to go with the Khinkali. Khinkali is a really interesting dish because it's so full of history. You see, Georgia is one of many countries that lays along what used to be the Silk Road, an old network of routes and cities that facilitated the movement of people, goods, disease, weapons, and of course, food. You look at the Khinkali and you think, wow, these look like giant dumplings. Like, these look like something I could have seen at a Chinese restaurant or something. And there's a very good reason for that, namely the Silk Road. These ancient culinary techniques that originated in places like the Far East migrated along these routes and ended up in places like Georgia. And that's what you see when you look at the Khinkali. And the Khinkali were good, man. I mean, when they came out, they were piping hot, and they were slippery little f***ers. Like, they were hard to grab until they cooled down enough for you to really get a hold of them. Eating them is a lot of fun. What you do is grab them from the top and nibble out a hole in the side and sip out the liquid. And once that's done, you eat everything else and discard the top. And the flavor of the Khinkali was delicious. I mean, the liquid inside was savory, but herbaceous as all hell, and the meat was delicious too. I really enjoyed eating these. If you're ever in the area, you have to check out Cafe G. Awesome spot. And up next, we have a place that I've been wanting to go to for a very long time, Eddie's Fancy Food, which specializes in Korean-Uzbek cuisine. So if you take out a map and you look at where Korea is, and then you look at where Uzbekistan is, you can't help but ask, how are we getting Korean food coming out of Uzbekistan? And the answer actually goes back to Joseph Stalin. You see, around the time of World War II, Stalin became very paranoid about the Korean immigrants living in the USSR at the time, for fears that they would be sympathetic toward the Japanese. And so he began rounding them up and deporting them thousands of miles away to places like Kazakhstan and Uzbekistan. The deported had to quickly adapt to their new surroundings, and many perished in the process. But those that survived learned how to replicate the dishes from their Korean homeland using the ingredients that they had available. That's how you get the cuisine featured at Eddie's Fancy Food. This is a very small and humble place with big flavor. I started off with a salad of cucumber, tomato, onion, and tons of spice. This salad was a joy to eat, full of vinegary flavor, and the vegetables still had a lot of bite. I really enjoyed this dish. And the Manti were a delight too. They're like Central Asian dumplings, baked and filled with lamb and spices, and brought to the next level by the two different condiments that they had on the table. Now, I don't know what these condiments were, and if you do, please let me know in the comments below. But they were really delicious. There were two different types. One was darker in color and had like savory and sweet notes, kind of like a soy sauce, but with a distinct flavor. And the other one, the clear one, whew, that can knock out your sinuses for a week. I mean, exploding with vinegar flavor and infused with dill. It just got you right in the nose, man. It was really, really something else. And finally, the dish that I was really looking forward to, the kuksu, which is a cold noodle soup. I repeat, a cold noodle soup in the dead of winter, and it was absolutely marvelous. In this dish, you can see the distinction between the Korean-Uzbek cuisine and Korean cuisine, which has a cold noodle dish called Kuksu, which uses kimchi instead of the cabbage that we saw here. But like I said, the deported used ingredients that they had available. I've never had anything like this dish. It was a true joy to eat, cold temperature and all. If you ever check out Eddie's Fancy Food, I highly recommend you get the Kuksu. It will blow your mind. Cold noodle soup, that was unexpected. Really, really delicious. Everybody needs to try that dish. How many different cultures and cuisines did we see? Doesn't get better than that. That's why I love this place so much. All right, maybe just one more stop. And finally, a place very near and dear to my heart, Shanghai, where you'll find some of the best xiaolongbao in the entire city. Now, I don't know what they do with these soup dumplings, but the flavor is unparalleled. They are at the top of their game. But there's another dish that you can't leave here without getting: the fried wontons and peanut and hot sauce. The peanut sauce adds like a really nice sweetness, and you get the kick from the hot sauce, and that combined with the crunch from the wontons makes for a really spectacular experience. This is one of my favorite dishes anywhere. But there's so many other dishes here that are wonderful in their own right. From their noodle soups to their dumplings with their scallion pancake, you can't go wrong here. Shanghai is one of those cherished local institutions that always exceeds the mark and deserves like 10 times the amount of praise that they get. Places like this are the reason why I created the show in the first place. Now it's time to go home. This is the part where, if my wife and kid were with me, I'd be jumping in an Uber. But by myself, I'm old school. Take the train. Now that's what I would call a successful food crawl. I mean, this is why I love Brooklyn, man, because I can hop on the train, take it a couple stops, and be immersed in a completely different culture. This is why I love this place so damn much. There's just nowhere else like it. And then, when it's time to call it a night, I can take that same train back home, bring back some goodies for my family, and spend some time with the people that I love the most. It just doesn't get better than that. So this food crawl was a lot of fun, but you haven't seen anything yet. There's so much more you have to explore, starting with this next episode, which takes an even deeper dive into the food and culture of these incredible neighborhoods. I'll see you there. Stay hungry, guys.